Ares is the god of war, Apollo the god of prophecy, Athena the goddess of wisdom. But in Greek mythology, one of the lesser-known gods was Garretus, the god of the kitchen, master of the culinary arts. He alone provided the savory concoctions that kept everyone on Mount Olympus forever asking for seconds. He also had to do the dishes. And with a nod to Greek mythology, we are going Greek. We've got a Greek picnic with rosemary lamb skewers, cucumber tzatziki, Greek salad, Spanikopitas, and a chocolate baklava. A feast fit for the gods. I'm Garret Schack, and today that's what we're cooking on the coast. Opa! Today we go Greek picnic with rosemary lamb skewers, cucumber tzatziki, Greek salad, Spanikopitas, and chocolate baklavas. A meal fit for Zeus himself. Let's get started. So, because this is a picnic, we need to prep things ahead of time a little bit. First thing we're going to start with is our Spanakopitas and our baklava. Spanakopita is basically a lovely, crispy, flaky pastry that's made with phyllo pastry. It's a really, really thin pastry that takes some delicate care, but really simple to work with once you know how. It's found in most freezer departments of the grocery stores these days. The first thing we need to do is lay out a sheet nice and even on our bench here, and then we take some melted butter and just brush it evenly all the way across. All right, good brush. Let's grab another layer. So you'll see I have over here the phyllo pastry is just under a damp cloth, and all that does is simply keep it from drying out too much so we can still work with it. But you can see it's just wafer thin, isn't it? It's just a wafer thin pastry, sir. And then again, over we go again with some butter. Again, continuing to layer. This butter is going to help with that crispiness and make it nice and flaky. One more sheet. Go there. Actually, using about 3/4 of the sheet here, so I can tear that piece off. Lay it on top. Smooth it out. Again, the wrinkles aren't too big a deal. In fact, this time, rather than tear off that piece, because I still have it there, I'm just gonna fold it right over. Okay, last brush with the butter. At this stage, you can start working a little more quickly. You can see it's folding together nicely. You don't have to be as delicate. Okay, with this same sheet, I'm going to do the two different ones. So we're gonna cut it into strips, approximately 2 inches wide. Again here, and again here. Let's start with our baklava. We have right here just a very simple filling of hazelnuts, chipped chocolate, it's kind of like grated up chocolate, and honey. And we're just gonna lay it inside the pastry like this. Try and keep it fairly flat and fairly even layered. But once you see what we're gonna do, it won't really be too big a deal. Come together all nicely here. All right. Now, simply take your phyllo pastry on one edge and roll it slightly like this, all the way across. Spread it out to the edges. Make sure you get some in the edges too. More in. There we go. Just have a sheet pan right here. Set it on top of my phyllo dough, that's fine. Next one, we're gonna get 2 rolls out of because I realized that one's just a bit too big. Want to be nice bite-sized pieces. So, like I said, we're starting backwards here. This is the dessert portion of our picnic. Now, to celebrate the god Zeus, the first Greek Olympics were held in the city of Olympia in 706 BC, 776 BC. Pretty wild. Imagine what it would have been like at those times, hey? Probably would have been. I probably would have been impaled for taking so long to make these things. So you can see that one came out a little nicer. That's just a nice mouthful right there. Go. And the last one. Roll it up real quick. Lovely. There. And there's our chocolate and hazelnut baklava. And now for our spanikopitas. What we have here is some spinach, some feta cheese. There we go. I have a little garlic. And then some lemon. First thing I'm going to do is zest the lemon. I want some of that zest in there to make it nice and fresh. Okay, and then a little bit of the lemon juice. Now, not too much lemon juice, so we don't want this mixture to be moist and affect the crispiness of our spanikopitas. Get a spoon here, a little stir. Now at this stage I haven't added any salt because feta cheese tends to be quite salty. So we're not going to add any salt, but we are going to put some cracked pepper in there. Cute little pepper grinder here. There. And there's our mixture. So now, this one's a little bit different than the rolling of the baklava. We actually want to turn these into triangle shapes. So our spanakopita is going to be a triangle shape. And we do it just like you see on TV when they're making the flags at a memorial ceremony. Fold it over to one edge, and then over again, and continue to do that all the way down. Now again, this phyllo is really thin pastry, so what we're going to end up with is this lovely, crispy, flaky pastry that's going to be in its little parcel just like that, so you can pick it up and eat it. We'll put those right on the same tray, continue to build some more. Fold it over, again. The only thing we want to make sure to do is that we seal up all the edges so none of that cheese and spinach comes flying out of there. Okay, and our last one. Get moving quickly here. You can see it doesn't take long once you have all the prep ready to go. You can bang a whole bunch of these off in a hurry and they freeze really, really well. So what inspired me to do this Greek picnic is that there are over 140 inhabited islands throughout Greece. What better way to have a picnic than with some Greek food on a Greek island? We're almost there. Over to our pan. What I'd like to do now is skewer up some lamb. What we have here is just a little bit of lamb leg, whatever kind of lamb you can find, and marinate it simply in some red wine, some olive oil, garlic, salt, and pepper. And then we want to skewer it on these gorgeous rosemary skewers. So rosemary grows like weeds around here. All you have to do is just pluck off some nice ones that have a nice long, strong stem. Skewer them. About 3 purs, good size. Again, it's a lunch picnic, so we don't want to fill up too much. We're probably going to be out swimming through the aisles in the Mediterranean. Oh. And as we go to break, get our grill pan going, cook those off when we get back. We'll be back later in the show to pull together our Greek feast of lamb skewers, tzatziki, spanikopitas, and chocolate baklava. But first, right after the break, we're getting out of the studio. You'll want to stick around for that. Here we are in the heart of downtown at the Irish Times pub, and any good Irish pub that has this many beers on tap has to have some phenomenal Irish food going on downstairs. Let's see what Will has for us. Will, here we are. How are you, buddy?
Great.
Yeah, thanks for having us down into the kitchen here today. I know you're a busy man and lots going on, but so braised beef and cabbage?
Yeah, we have a corned beef. We got a local producer to brine his brisket. Yeah. It's 4 quarters meats. They're great. It's sort of an old friend of mine. So
that's this guy right here.
That's the raw product. Well, after it's been brined.
Yeah.
And then we take some cider and add it to this, cover it, and braise it for approximately 8 hours. and we end up with a product like that. So you can see that obviously they're not identical in size to start off with, but you lose quite a bit.
Yeah, you lose a bit of that yield,
process,
right? But braising is the best way to go, so you don't necessarily lose as much, right? If you were to high heat cook it, right? So, and now you're using, this is what cut? Brisket?
It's brisket, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's, you know, we try and stay with Canadian beef if we can, Vancouver Island if possible.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Which is great.
Good, supporting the local. I love it. So what happens next? So that braise is for in Strongbow Insider, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
And certainly unique. How long does that usually braise for?
Approximately anywhere from 8 to 10 hours.
Wow.
Sometimes we just leave it overnight, but you know, it depends where we sort of adjust the temperature to on that. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
And braised beef and cabbage. Why'd you go this route today?
Well, I've got Irish heritage, and I know that it was kind of a dish that was always, you know, sort of a dish of the people that you were. Yeah. So, and I mean, I think that it's a pretty common Irish dish, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So you want to put it together for me? How does it? How does this all get to the plate?
Yep. Well, we have the mashed potatoes. Usually I just put a bit of the sauce in first.
Ooh, that looks delicious.
Just a mustard demi-glace.
Mustard demi, I love it.
A little bit of the mashed potatoes. And keep in mind that
is there a trick to getting them that smooth?
Yeah, having somebody who knows what they're doing to it.
That always helps,
That's why I
doesn't
got
it?
one of these guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'd make terrible mashed potatoes. So. And then just roasted carrots.
Very nice.
And then I guess I should probably cut this.
But you don't just serve that whole piece like that?
I mean, ideally, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll sit down with a pint of Guinness and that. That'd be great.
Sure. And then maybe some dialysis.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that looks amazing.
So, try and, in this preparation, obviously we remove as much of the pickling spices as possible. And then we've got a cabbage. The reason the mash is kind of a meager portion is because this is sort of a mix of mash and cabbage inside. So it's sort of a cold cannon kind of thing, which is another sort of traditional Irish dish. And then
look at that.
And then we do a little something that I've done for a while here. It's just some pickled mustard seeds. So you get a bit of color, a little bit of turmeric in there.
Wow, that looks incredible. Do you mind if I dig in, Will? This looks amazing.
Thanks, absolutely. Go ahead.
I could definitely sit down with a delicious pint of beer and, oh, look how tender that is. That's that 8 or 10 hours of braising, hey? That's really delicious.
Yeah, we get a lot of positive comments for sure about the corned beef. So.
I bet. Look how it just shreds apart. That's phenomenal. I gotta dig into this cabbage here too. Let's have a look. Woohoo, there it is. Look at that. Oh. That in itself right there could be a dish. That's fantastic. All right. I love the way the demi and the pickled mustard seed just offsets that richness of the whole dish, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's quite rich. So,
great job, Will. Thanks again for having me in your kitchen.
I'll
let you get back at her. I know you got a busy day ahead of you.
Thanks.
And yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks very much. Back to the kitchen. We're working on our Greek picnic with rosemary lamb skewers, cucumber tzatziki, Greek salad, spanikopitas, and chocolate baklava. So our spanikopitas and baklava are already in the oven. They'll be coming out shortly. We have our meat that's been skewered and marinating nicely. Nice hot grill pan. I'm just gonna give it a light spray with a little bit of pan spray here. And we'll get those on right away. Not too high a heat, but we definitely wanna hear a nice sizzle. So the beauty about this lamb here is that it's wonderful hot, of course, but it also tastes great once it's chilled down a little bit, so it's perfect for taking out on your picnic. I'm gonna turn my heat down just a touch. While these are cooking, let's get a couple more things together. We have our Greek salad, and Greek salad is really interesting because it has many different adaptations around the world. It's thought to have originated in Greece, hence the name I would expect, but Other cultures have developed it. In Detroit or in the United States, they may add beets to it, for example. Tampa Bay often includes their own potato salad. And Australia has a version that has squash in it to add color. Today, we're keeping it kind of traditional here. We're using what we have available here on the West Coast. We got some lovely cucumbers. You can see all the peppers, red onions, tomatoes. Kalamata olives, good Greek Kalamata olives are important here. And this is fresh oregano right from the garden. There, now we'll build our dressing right in the bowl. This is really easy. Balsamic vinegar, of course, a good quality balsamic vinegar. Extra virgin olive oil. If you can find Greek olive oil, all the better. Pour that right in there. Some fresh garlic, some fresh chopped garlic. So many things to remember. And then we have some honey. Honey's just gonna add a touch of sweetness to offset that salt. Salt and sweet are so hot these days, so we're gonna keep going with it. And our fancy little pepper grinder. There we go. And now the fun part. This is where, instead of breaking plates in the kitchen because they get expensive, you can throw the opas in here. Opa! There you go. If anything escapes, don't worry, we'll pick it up later. Hey, hey! Now, last thing we want to do is add a little bit of fresh green onion in there just for a little extra quick chop. You can see it's nice and rustic in the pan or in the bowl there, so we're not going to worry about chopping these green onions up too nicely. Now, give this one more nice little toss, and then we'll throw it in a bowl, and that'll be ready to go. Smells fabulous. All that balsamic vinegar, just incredible. There we are. Man, just leaning over this lamb. It's got my mouth watering. It smells so good. You can smell the red wine vinegar, the red wine, the olive oil, rosemary. There we are. Now let's make a quick tzatziki. What would a Greek picnic be without tzatziki? I have some Greek yogurt here. Going to add some chopped garlic, some black pepper. Whoop, grind, grind, grind. A little bit of cumin. This is kind of my secret ingredient. I like to add a little cumin to tzatziki. There we are, maybe a quarter teaspoon or so. Some salt. Now we have some lemon here. Just gonna grate the lemon zest from one side and a few squeezes. And then using that same grater, we're gonna go ahead and grate our cucumber in there. We want a really nice fine cucumber. And this dip is super fresh. Delicious, it goes so well with Greek food. All right, looks great. Give this a quick stir. Look at that. Just gonna give it a quick taste here with the back of my spoon. Very nice. A little bit more salt. Just a pinch. And then for some fun, because we're taking this on the road, we're gonna pour it right into this mason jar right here that's already placed on our plate. And that way you can seal it up and take it on the road with you. There we are. Put that away. Our lamb's coming along nicely. At this point, I'm gonna season it a little bit. Let's check on our spanakopita. Should we head to the oven? I think that sounds like a great idea. Look at that, golden brown. Oh, that looks fantastic. I can see the chocolate and the honey has started to come out of the baklava a little bit. That looks just incredible, doesn't it? Let's pick a plate here. We'll put the baklava on this one. Stack these guys up all nicely here. Again, these ones, you could let them cool and they'd be fantastic. And we'll set this down right here. We'll get our Spanakopitas onto the plate. Gorgeous color, crispy, flaky pastry, and all that feta cheese and spinach inside. So not only does it look good, but it tastes good and is good for you. Set these over to the side. For the baklava, the last thing I like to do is just splash a little bit of icing sugar on top as if there wasn't enough sweetness in there. Little icing sugar. Boom, those guys are ready to go. Now, let's move our lamb skewers. They look like they're looking pretty good. I can see here, if you can focus in on the lamb skewer, you can see there's a little bit of red blood coming out there. That means they're about medium. That's how I tell for a medium cooked doneness on meat. So that means they're perfect, and that's just about where we want them. And the rosemary skewers, not only do they add that flavor to the lamb, but boy, does it look impressive. Your guests and your friends at the picnic will be just blown away with that. So we'd serve all of this up with a little bit of toasted pita bread, and away we go. Just gonna see about tasting some of this here. It all looks so fantastic. Got this. Just incredible. A little bit of this Greek salad. See all that feta. Whoops. Peppers, onions. Looks incredible. Right away, you get that balsamic and then a little sweetness from the honey. This is a meal Zeus would be proud of. There you have it. Greek picnic with rosemary lamb skewers, cucumber tzatziki, Greek salad, spanikopitas, and chocolate baklava. Now, what better way to enjoy our Greek picnic than with some nectar from the gods? Here with me today, Gary from Driftwood Brewery. How you doing, Gary?
Cheers, Garrett. Really good to see you.
Nice to see you, buddy. What have you got for
Happy
us?
to be back. Well, I've got a little rumor that you were making some lamb kebabs, and there's one beer that comes to mind for me in particular when I think of lamb, and that's Farmhand. It's a Belgian-style beer, a saison style.
Nice.
It's got some nice, deep, savory notes to it. It's actually brewed with a hint of black pepper, actually into the brew, so it really marries really well with the lamb.
Nice. Now, that's pretty unique, isn't it?
It is pretty unique, and the Belgians weren't too scared from using different ingredients in their brewing process.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's have a taste.
Sure.
Are we expecting, so this would be more on the maltier side than we would on more maybe the traditional hoppy?
Well, actually,
West
it's
Coast
funny.
stuff.
With the Belgian-style beers, you get more herb and spice notes as opposed to malt and hops, and it lends itself really well to pairing with food. As a matter of fact, this is a beer when I drink it, I always feel like there's something missing, and it's usually a piece of meat.
Yeah, usually some lamb skewers, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, that looks gorgeous.
Yeah, cheers.
Beautiful glassware. Taste. Oh, I just love the smell of Belgian ale.
Spot on.
Oh, should we dig into one of these skewers here?
Gets the mouth watering a little bit too.
So here's how I do it. Because
cool.
we're picnicking, right?
Yeah,
Not a lot
we're
of forks and
picnicking,
knives. Grab a
I'm on board with that.
piece of naan, have a little lamb skewer.
Done on the rosemary.
Yeah, you know, we gotta fancy it up a little bit for TV. There you go.
Get some of that.
And kind of eat it like a sandwich.
Cool. You get to eat the rosemary as well.
Well, I'll pull it off the stick, I'd say. But you can see how it flavors from the inside
That
here.
was delicious.
Did put black pepper on here, so it should be perfect. Oh, wow. That really pairs super nicely with that.
It brings
that
it together,
lamb.
doesn't it?
Really
Yeah.
does. I think you're absolutely right. The only thing missing was a little bit of food with that beer. That's perfect.
Well, did
Well,
a
Gary.
great job on those.
Yeah, thanks for
I'll
being here, buddy.
definitely,
Good stuff. We're going to finish that up in just one sec. Check out our website where you'll find more information on today's show and maybe a few surprises. I'm Garret Schack. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, savor the flavor.